Good morning, and we'll call to order the meeting of the Regional Transportation Commission of Southern Nevada. Ms. Maynard.
Thank you, Chairman Brown and members of the Commission. Your first item is to conduct your first citizens' participation.
This is the first time set aside for public comment. Those wishing to speak to the board on a posted agenda item, now is your opportunity. Good morning.
Good morning, Commissioners. My name is Robin Kincaid, and this is the 15th time I've come before the Commission regarding paratransit services. My daughter Kayla uses paratransit services to attend school at UNLV and work at the UNLV preschool. We do live in the service area, but have difficulty getting to services that are not in the service area, such as attending our church, visiting her brother, picking up packages from our assigned post office, and accessing the grocery stores. Each time I speak, I put forward a request to restore the service area back to the 2011 configuration. When Las Vegas made a commitment to provide fixed transportation system to the citizens in Nevada, they took on the obligation to provide paratransit services to persons with disabilities. Transit agencies are responsible for the cost of fulfilling an ADA paratransit mandate. Each month I come to these meetings. I continuously hear the excuses about funding and hear how persons with disabilities are being told where to live, where they can worship, and access to their community due to the service area restrictions. In 2018, I brought to the Commission's attention the Federal Transit ADA Compliance Review Final Report for Las Vegas. This was a report that contained findings that the Commission was not familiar with, and it was very concerning that this information was kept from the Commission. Unfortunately, we believe that the Commission is still being kept in the dark by the current RTC administration. Today, through research, I've discovered that there are numerous examples of wasteful spending that has occurred under the current Deputy Chief Executive Officer. It appears as though that she has approved a pattern of wasteful spending that calls into question how RTC is going to meet its future transportation obligations. So I'm specifically talking about agenda item number 48. So I'd appreciate if you would consider the facts and the data. Security contracts provided by an independent contractor have seen outrageous increases in cost. These are for routes that are virtually the same for the past 9 years. So in 2010, the cost was $1.6 million, increased to $3.3 million, and the present day cost is $8.6 million. As a taxpayer, I am horrified that a service could increase 550%. And that alone sends out a call for the Commission to consider having an independent auditor to determine why this type of increase is appropriate. It also appears through my research that the RTC has been spending hundreds of thousands of public dollars to pay out in litigation settlements to former RTC contractors, like Outdoor Promotions and potentially CE Mobile, since the RTC could not properly or cordially terminate existing contracts. Again, I'm asking for an independent investigation audit into litigation settlements and produce a final report that would be presented to the Commission to explain this wasteful spending. For too long, we've heard that money is not available. I encourage you to consider this wasteful patterns that have put us in this financial situation and do your due diligence. As you move forward, creating a process that would have the Commission consider a fresh pair of eyes that will lead and serve the RTC can help with this unchecked, reckless spending. Thank you for listening, and I hope that you, after your investigations are complete, that you'll be in a position to strongly consider the needs of persons with disabilities and address this service area issue. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your comments. Anyone else wishing to speak to the board on a posted agenda item?
Good morning, Board. Chair Brown and members, Alita Dupree for the record. I'm going to be talking about 46 and 48, which basically pertain to the matter of the resignation of our current CEO and the search for a new one. And first of all, I'm going to miss Tina Quigley upon hearing of her resignation. It was something that I was indeed saddened by. and Tina has done a lot of really great things for this agency. And Tina is one reason why I've become engaged with this agency and use the services thereof. Now, that being said, we're going to have to find somebody new, and you're going to be talking about that later. So I think it's important as we search for a new CEO that there be some basic principles in mind. So the CEO used to be known as a general manager, as you know, is a very generalized position. So it's very important that this individual have a global perspective of leadership, that RTC is not just about running buses, and it's not just about building streets and highways and collecting money, but we are very regional in nature and even of a significance beyond the borders of our county. And so Tina has been a voice on a national stage, and so too must our new CEO. You may be presented with a candidate that has disabilities and challenges. Consider such candidate as you would any other. Remember the importance of the diversity of the riding public and those who may be employed at this agency, because our world is a very diverse place. And so it's important to continue to be innovative. It is during Tina's tenure that we initiated Trip the Strip, which I use today, and a mobile app. And hopefully we'll see more new things like electric buses and the future of fare payment. So consider these things as you go forward. It is my hope that we will have a new CEO selected and installed very soon. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Anyone else wishing to speak to the board on a posted agenda item? Good morning.
Good morning, Commissioners. My name is Stephanie Versnick, and I'm speaking before you for the 20th time. I want to specifically speak on item 48. As a member of this community and a tax-paying citizen, I have concerns and would like to share some information. I attended the RTC meeting in July when a program called Trip to Strip, an on-demand share ride, was part of the CEO's report. A short video was shown and a big hoopla was made with showgirls and celebrities promoting the service. We were told in the presentation how wonderful it was and how it would help to bring revenue to the RTC. It is my understanding that this program could potentially be illegal per the Nevada Transportation Authority, as it is against the law for a public agency to operate an on-demand service in competition with private vendors. The Trip to Strip program was approved by this commission last March as a consent agenda item for over $3 million. How much money was spent in advertising and marketing? It seems to me that perhaps that $3 million could have been used to expand the service area so that people with disabilities can have transportation in the community that they work and live in. Over the last 20 months, I have attended these meetings and have testified 20 times asking to expand the service area. I have heard many times of projects that have been approved for large sums of money. It makes me wonder, is the money being spent in the best interest of this community? It appears to me that tax dollars is being recklessly spent. This is hard-earned taxpayers' dollars. Is it possible that the money being recklessly spent has prevented my son from getting the services he deserves? Additionally, I noticed that the website has been redone. I ask you, was that necessary? What was wrong with the old website? I must tell you, it took me 15 minutes to find the agenda for this meeting. It's very difficult to navigate and is not user-friendly at all. How much did it cost to redo the website? Could that money have been used to expand the service area? As a very concerned member of this community, I am asking this commission to seriously consider an individual who has a clear understanding of meeting the needs of this growing community. Perhaps a fresh pair of eyes as the next leader. I am strongly recommending that the Commission conduct the selection process by searching for internal or external candidates, a candidate who will make it a priority to meet the growing needs of Southern Nevada. This is a decision not to be taken lightly. The members of this community deserve nothing but the best.
Thank you for your comments. Anyone else wishing to speak to the board on a posted agenda item? Seeing and hearing no one, we'll close this portion of public comment.
All right. Mr. Chairman, the next order of business is to approve the agenda. The agenda is in order and ready for approval.
Motion on the floor. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
The next item is the CEO report, which I'll present on behalf of our CEO, Tina Quigley. First, we have an operator recognition, thanks to Sam, from our contractor MV Senior Transportation, Eric Cruz. Is Eric here? Awesome, here we go. Mr. Cruz is an operator on our specialized services routes who displays commendable customer service. He makes it a point to get to know each customer by name and takes pride in making sure they get to their destination safely and on time. Mr. Cruz has also shown great leadership skills within the company, training other drivers on the proper procedures for routes, even sharing his own personal tips to stay on time and better assist passengers. Please join me in thanking Eric Cruz for his dedication to the job and to his clients. Thank you.
All I want to say is thank you.
Next, we'd like to recognize an outstanding operator from our contractor TransDev, Ms. Sherry Adams. Among her colleagues and clients, Ms. Adams is known for her outstanding customer service and positive attitude. Recently, a customer misplaced her wallet during a paratransit ride to the airport. After conducting a search on the vehicle and coming up empty-handed, Ms. Adams asked a road supervisor to visit the Lost and Found department at the airport, where the supervisor found the wallet and returned it to the grateful client. Please join me in recognizing Sherry Adams for her commitment to our customers.
Is it on? Thank you.
And RTC staff would like to recognize an outstanding employee of Silver State Transportation, which helps keep our facilities and bus shelters clean for our customers. Charles Clark was hired as a bus cleaner for Silver State Transportation, and due to his excellent performance, he was promoted to cleaning services supervisor at the Bonneville Transit Center. Mr. Clark? Mr. Clark's positive attitude, focus on service, and willingness to help in any aspect has produced visible improvements in the quality of our cleaning services at the BTC. He has also established effective communication with staff at the BTC, resulting in more prompt and efficient responses to the daily needs at this busy transit center. We're proud to say that Mr. Clark is a graduate of the Hope for Prisoners program. He serves as a mentor to other Hope for Prisoners graduates and is a successful example of this very important social program. Please help me recognize Mr. Charles Clark.
Testing, testing, 1, 2. I would just like to thank Silver State Transportation, Hope for Prisoners, my mentor, John D. Ponder, as well as Albert Delapass and Mark Fernandez for giving me an opportunity to better myself. Thank you.
Thank you. Now I'd like to ask Nathan Goldberg, the Manager of Transit Planning, to update the board on our upcoming fixed route service change in December.
Good morning, Chairman, members of the board. Nathan Goldberg, RTC. In order to better serve our transit customers, the RTC will be implementing several changes to our fixed route system beginning Sunday, December 8th. For the first time in 6 years, due to budgetary limitations, this year's service change is mainly cost neutral by eliminating identified inefficiencies in order to add those resources to areas that more need it. 27 routes will have some type of change. Most of these are minor scheduling changes, and these adjustments work to overall improve the efficiency of our system. The only significant routing adjustments are occurring in the East Henderson area, where transit service is being restructured to better balance the quantity of service available to the College of Southern Nevada Henderson campus, as well as Nevada State College. And it will additionally provide better service to a neighborhood in East Henderson with solid transit ridership. Currently, CSN Henderson is served 4 times per hour by the Boulder Highway Express, or BHX, while Nevada State College is served once per hour by the Henderson Downtown Express, or HDX. That made sense several years ago when enrollment at Nevada State College was much lower. However, today, enrollment at the two campuses is pretty similar, necessitating the need for comparable service. In order to remedy that in a cost-neutral way, we had to get a little creative. The schools will now share the BHX toward the end of the line, where we will split the service into A and B to serve both campuses. This technique, which is known as route branching, is utilized elsewhere in the RTC system. Combined with the HDX being modified to serve CSN Henderson, both schools will now see 3 trips per hour, which better matches demand without adding cost. Additionally, the Boulder Highway Express will now serve Water Street 3 times per hour. Next, we are adjusting Route 217, Warm Springs, Lake Mead Parkway, east of Boulder Highway to provide more two-way service. Currently, customers in this neighborhood, which has very solid transit ridership, have to endure a very long and inconvenient one-way loop. While loops are great for coverage, they're not so great for convenience. By modifying the HDX to serve the Horizon and Pacific area, the 217 can focus on better serving the neighborhood east of Boulder Highway, greatly shrinking that one-way loop. This will result in faster and more convenient transit service for the 300 plus customers who utilize that service every day. These adjustments to East Henderson will have very minor impacts on the paratransit service area. There are 3 currently certified paratransit clients that will be added to the service area, and there are 7 paratransit clients who will be grandfathered in to ensure that no existing clients are negatively impacted. Other highlights of this service change include a weekday frequency increase to Route 215 Bonanza, which currently needs that due to reliability and on-time performance metrics. Additionally, Route 207 Alta Stewart will see a modification through the medical district. This is due to Project Neon construction and other City of Las Vegas construction projects finishing in that area, where we can now have consistent routing in that through the medical district. Finally, a handful of routes will also see very surgical changes where performance metrics are not meeting our standards. A great example of this is the last southbound Centennial Express trip of the evening. This currently leaves the Centennial Hills Transit Center at approximately 11 p.m., heading south towards McCarran Airport. While ridership is strong from the Centennial Hills Transit Center to the Bonneville Transit Center, between the BTC and McCarran Airport at around midnight, there just is not a whole lot of ridership. Customers are no longer stranded, or would not be stranded, because they can transfer at the BTC if they need to continue on further. Through these adjustments and others like it, it allows us to take from trips that are not meeting our metrics and add service where it is more needed, keeping our system as efficient and effective as possible. The information on the changes is available on our website via printed materials at all of our transit centers, onboard buses, and available on social media. With that, that concludes my presentation, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Comments or questions? Commissioner?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. What are the current ridership counts on the affected lines that serve routes that serve CSN, Nevada State College, and Water Street in the area of the corporate limits of the city of Henderson?
Sure. Specifically at Nevada State College, the boardings are approximately 43 boardings per day, and that's on hourly service, which is not all that convenient. With these changes, that number should go up to be more commensurate with what we see at the other locations.
That's at State College?
Yes.
And what are you seeing at CSN?
I'd have to look to see exactly
Would
what
you
it
get
is.
those numbers for me
Yeah,
also?
absolutely.
And also, I'm interested in knowing what is happening on the Water Street route
Correct.
currently.
Okay.
Now, you mentioned that there are 7 paratransit passengers that would be grandfathered in. How is the paratransit service area affected? Help us understand exactly where. If
Sure.
someone who required paratransit services were to move into that area, where are the limits today as
Okay.
opposed to where they will be with the new changes?
Okay, we have a map of that available. It is essentially that neighborhood is to the southwest of Fiesta Henderson, on the other side of the 95, kind of at the bottom of the Horizon Ridge Hill, is where that occurs.
So those folks today have service but will not
Correct.
when we redraw.
Yeah.
And that's of real concern to me, because I think that the last thing we need to be doing is things that knowingly restrict us so that we have even more of these folks that don't have any other alternative. And I think that's something that ought to be in front of us today. I think we ought to be able to look at that today. I think the public that ought to be able to see that. So I hope that you would take steps to make sure that that is made available.
Absolutely.
And I'd like to see that as soon as you're able to rustle it up.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate the comments of the commissioner. I think it's important that we do look at the paratransit numbers. And I also think it's important and good that we're looking at what the transit service needs are for Nevada State College and the College of Southern Nevada, because both of those campuses' populations are growing significantly, and we need to be making sure that we're addressing the growth concerns there as well. So I do appreciate what we need to be looking at in terms of the impact to our paratransit population, but also knowing that we need to, I mean, I know we're going to be building an education building and a healthcare building on those campuses, so we're going to see a lot more traffic and traffic occurring even between the two colleges. And so it's important that we're addressing the growing concerns as we are growing as a community. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, so John Penuelis, RTC's Senior Director of Engineering, will provide you with an update on the progress of our fuel revenue indexing program, both the initial 3-year FRI funding and the 10-year extension.
Thank you, MJ. Good morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. I appreciate the opportunity to brief you on our FRI revenue indexing program. As you'll recall, Assembly Bill 413 passed the 2013 legislative session and gave the RTC the ability to fund up to $700 million worth of projects. A call went out for projects to the member agencies, and they came back with 225 critically needed roadway projects. Next slide, please. In 2016, you'll also recall that ballot question number 5 was passed, and that gave us the ability to extend the program through 2026, and also allowed us to bond up to $300 billion worth of projects, and the economists tell us that that could be worth as many as 25,000 jobs. So that was significant. So the current status of the program is that, and this is as of September 30th, as you'll see, 320 projects have been awarded to industry. 220 of those, we're happy to report, have been completed. We have put 78 local small businesses to work. We have issued almost $1 billion, $904 million worth of contracts to our member agencies. And we are anticipating that all 225 projects in the initial program will be completed by year's end. That's also good news. So this chart is a little busy, but I think it really tells the story very well. In 2013, the last half of 2013, when the program got underway, we had a handful of projects in design, and obviously the majority were not started. Now, if you move over to the right, you'll see in 2019, we have completed, as I said before, 220 projects and are looking to complete all 225 by the end of the year. In addition, we have completed 4 Fry extension projects, and 91 are in progress, bringing the total to the 320. The point of this, I think, is really to show the foundation that was laid by the initial program. And the extension is building off that and will continue to build off that. I like this slide for that graphic. This is the breakdown of those $904 million worth of projects or contracts awarded to the member agencies. You'll see the 603 over there at the right. That's the initial program, and the 301 is the Fry extension portion of it. And then finally, what is coming up here? So we've got Fry projects. That's both, well, actually the Fry extension. We have 66 million in what we call soon to advertise. These are projects where the member agencies have come to us and asked for construction funds. We anticipate they'll be delivered within a 3 to 6 month time frame. The motor vehicle fuel tax, that category is 40 million, as you see, for the total of over 100 million. And these represent an opportunity for construction management services, this 106 million. So that's a good deal as well. And I believe that is my last slide. So that concludes my report, and I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Comments or questions? I do. If you could go back to the color, that one. So this would indicate, at least looking at it, that everything has started now regarding FRI and FRI 2. But that's not the case. Don't we have other projects, FRI 2, that?
Oh, absolutely, yes. The Fry 1 was a static list of 225 projects. The fuel extension is more of your typical program delivery model where you have a capital plan, which you've approved, and projects will be added to that continually.
So do we had the 225 number for FRI. Do we have that number for FRI 2?
I'd have to look it up, but there are a finite number of projects on the capital plan now, of course, but as in all capital plans, that number will ebb and flow as priorities change. But yeah, we can find that number for sure.
Here's where I'm going. I think you could enhance this to truly show a bigger picture. This, again, would indicate to me that 320 projects and we're out of here. And then if you could also, David, maybe talk to, what do we call our group of public works folks?
Executive Advisory Committee?
The advisory committee. It would be wonderful to see not only FRI, but that last slide you had with the other road projects and funding to really, if you could in one slide get a snapshot of the infrastructure investment that's being made by the member agencies and the RTC and NDOT, could throw the NDOT in there. I mean, that's an impressive number, which fulfills the promise we made back in 2013 that we would be transparent, show them the report card, here are the projects, here's the investment. And we continually need to reinforce that message. But I think this slide is just a tip of the iceberg of a very, very strong story we can tell to the public.
Absolutely. 4 Fry extension projects have been completed, and there are 91 currently in progress. So we understand, and we will make that happen.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you.
And this concludes your CEO report. The next item on the agenda is to receive the Nevada Department of Transportation Director's Report from Deputy Director Cole Mortensen.
Good morning. As you can see, I am not Christina Swallow. Cole Mortensen, Deputy Director with the department. We have a short briefing for you guys this morning. I wanted to let you know that we have advertised the I-15-215 North interchange, and we anticipate bids coming in for that project in early November. And we're also kicking off two separate environmental processes, so you guys are likely going to be having staff reach out to you regarding the I-11 Tier 1 NEPA, as well as the downtown viaduct project, the downtown access project, and so you'll start seeing more public meetings and more public outreach on those projects. So, and that concludes my report.
Very good. Comments or questions? Thank you, Cole.
Okay. Next on the agenda is Next on the agenda is to approve the consent agenda, which consists of items 5 through 47. It may be taken in one motion.
Motion on the floor. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Okay, great. I'm going to turn agenda item 48 over to RTC Outside Legal Counsel, Greg Gilbert.
Good morning. The next item is item number 48. This is a time to discuss the appointment of or the selection process for a chief executive officer and direct staff accordingly. As you recall, at the RTC commission meeting on September 12th, 2019, Ms. Quigley, the CEO for RTC, tendered her resignation. That resignation will be effective on November 14th, 2019. RTC staff at this point today now seeks direction from the board to appoint a replacement CEO or guide us towards a selection process for a new CEO.
Open it up for comments or discussion from the board.
Mr. Chairman? Yeah, I heard the comments of the folks who came forward and spoke, and I know that there are a number of issues that were raised, whether it was security and maybe internal audits and things like that. And these are all things that happen at the RTC, and I know that, for example, the cost of security, that's something that this board approved, increases in costs in security because we wanted to keep our population safe as they were traveling on our transit system. So I'm not sure that that burden of responsibility sits in the executive, the CEO's hands. For oversight, yes, but ultimately we as a board made decisions to approve these budget changes and budget items. Overall, I think that we do need to have some continuity in the leadership of the RTC, and I believe that we have a candidate internally who I believe we can work with and has demonstrated leadership. Not everyone is happy with every decision that we make, whether it has to do with paratransit or transit decisions, but I believe that we make decisions here that are thoughtful and deliberate and responsible, and we try to explain why we make the decisions that we make as an organization. So I'd like to recommend that we ask our attorney to negotiate an agreement with MJ Maynard to be our CEO.
There's a motion on the floor. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And that motion carries. And that contract will be brought back at next month's meeting.
It will for formal approval.
And I apologize if we've done this, but did we approve the consent agenda earlier?
We did.
Thank you.
Yeah, I made the motion.
Would you like to approve it
Thank
just
you.
one more time? Okay.
Looking at all those things.
Members of the Commission, thank you for your support and for this opportunity. I want you to know that we remain committed to being a transparent, responsive, and accountable agency. And I just want to thank you. I humbly accept it with full enthusiasm, and I appreciate your support. Thank you. The next item is our legal item. It's Agenda 49. There are no matters to bring before the board at this time, so we'll move on to the last item on the agenda, which is number 50, and this is your final citizens' participation.
Second time set aside for public comment. Those wishing to speak to the board, now is your opportunity. Shelley Jones. Shelley, is it easy to bring down a, okay, we have a mic.
Good morning, everybody. I want to commend Mr. Neely for doing an excellent job. I know his work is very important and hard. He doesn't always get a chance to get back to you right away, but he does get back to you. Also, I'd like to tell you about Tango. I love that program. It's the best thing that you guys could ever have done. I get to my doctor's appointments on time. I get to my destinations when I have appointments made. The drivers are professional. One thing I would like you to consider is to please make this unlimited, because I use it quite often. I also use RTC, and the drivers are very well in that. But I feel that Tango has more professional drivers. I'm not saying that the drivers for RTC who drive the bus aren't professional, because I have a lot of professional drivers that I, engage with on a daily basis. I'm always on the go, and my blindness does not hold me back from traveling or doing whatever I need to do. Also, I'd like to, oh gosh, sorry, having a blonde moment here. I forgot what I was going to say. Thank you very much for letting me speak.
Thank you, Shelley. Anyone else wishing to speak to the board?
Chair Brown, members, Alita Dupree, for the record, as we close out this short and efficient meeting, thank you. I have another tool in my toolbox. In my time away, I read that you acquired 20 electric pedal assist bikes. I'm looking forward to using them. I actually have a day pass stored in the account. So I've used these bikes in San Francisco and Oakland. And so this is something that will definitely make my life easier. So thanks for bringing it home. I don't have to wait till I go back to California. I appreciate the fact that we have continuity in leadership. Thank you. Good choice. MJ, I look forward to working with you. Some other agencies tend to have long drawn out processes of interim leaders, and we're going to be staying the course here. So I am enjoying Trip the Strip. It gave me a one-seat ride, where normally it would be either 2 buses and a long walk, or 3 short hop buses, because where I live in Rancho Sahara, I'm not able to access Charleston anymore. So for a small fare, I was able to get that one-seat ride from near my home. And so as a person of disabilities, I'm being served. And so let's continue to work with more innovative programs, work with our friends at Nellis Air Force Base for transportation options. So I'm hoping to ride up to Nellis Air Force Base in the Northeast Kingdom, and I'm expecting to see more long buses because long buses are easier for me. And as I came home, I was on the freeway and I saw a double-decker that said Golden Knights Express. So I hope that we can have more of them, because I was in the freeway traffic late that night, and a lot of cars. So I want to see our Golden Knights succeed and hopefully make it to the Stanley Cup. And I also want to see more people going to and from these Golden Knights games on our buses and Trip the Strip, etc. So let's keep innovating. I think we still really have to work on the future of fare payment. I have the app. In New York City, I did get to do the open source payment, which is very limited, and use my phone to enter the subway. So I think we should look toward that. Paper magstripe tickets are as old as me, and they're showing their age. Take care and thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Good morning.
Good morning. My name is Sandy Neely. I am the Community Outreach Manager for Paratransit. I just want to say congratulations to MJ. I just want you guys to know that there's nobody more qualified for this position as CEO than MJ Maynard. She is a community-focused, driven person. One part of my job is going out and listening to what the community want. Not only with the community, but with the agencies, with the operators, and with the general public need. And they need a strong leader like MJ Maynard. Not only is she great at what she does at her leadership roles, but the people underneath her, she's mentored those guys as well too, as well as me. And I'm on the contractor side. But when you recognize a good leader, you have to grasp onto that. And she's going to bring stability, and her vision is going to carry on to RTC as well. So that's all I want to say. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning, Chairman Brown and Commissioners. My name is Alberto de la Paz. I'm the CEO and President of Silver State Transportation and Frijoles restaurants and different companies that we have. My brother Mark and I have been in business for a long time, and we have employed, I could say, thousands of people from Vegas. I am here to show my support for Ms. Maynard. One of the things that we have learned as CEOs or presidents is that you need to know that you can't make everybody happy, but you have to try to make the best of what you have. And Tina and MJ have done that. As business owners, we see how they act, and we've been working with the different contractors since 2007. And also with the RTC since 2011, I believe. And not all the time it goes our way. You know, we obviously, as business owners, we want to make more money. And as a CEO, you got to make sure that you don't let money go out everywhere. And they have shown that. Even though we have a good relationship with the RTC, they always keep us on our toes. And that shows that it's a good leadership. It's hard to be on top and try to make everybody happy, but I know that MJ is very fair, and I think as a business owner, that's all what you want. You want to be treated fair, and she has done that, and we support her nomination. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else wishing to speak to the board? Seeing and hearing no one, will close this portion of, Stealth.
Well, short. Good morning, Commissioner. I think that's the first time anyone's ever called me Stealth. Chairman Brown, members of the Commission, CEO in waiting, Maynard, congratulations. For the record, my name is Raymond Fletcher. I'm here to speak on behalf of myself. Last meeting, you talked about the TAC committee meeting that was coming up, and you invited people to come take part in the process. And I appreciate you putting that out in the public, because what I learned is back in 2011, when the service was reduced, much like the service adjustments that are made in downtown Henderson area, the people that are in the paratransit service area are being grandfathered in. Commissioner Gibson and Mayor March, as a person with a disability, it's incumbent upon me to be mindful of how I live and where I can access life. Again, as you recall, I moved across the country, and I needed to have somewhere that had access to bus routes, had access for me to access life. Much like a person that has diabetes that needs their insulin, they can't blame anyone if they forget their insulin. Much like a person with a disability, I can't blame you guys for the choices I have made. I've been doing this for a quarter century, and I've never seen a transit agency grandfather in so many residents to make sure that they have access to life. You know, I've been to DC, I've been to New York, I've been to Florida, seen many transit systems, nothing that operates like here in Las Vegas. And I'm proud to be an advocate for the system and to work with the people that are involved in the system. But I'm tired. I'm tired of the blame after blame after blame for choices that other people make. And we're about to get a new CEO, we're about to turn a new leaf, and we're about to move forward. Can we please stop blaming others for the choices that we make and finally hold our own selves accountable? I'm tired. I know you are too. I want to thank you for the service you provide. I wish you all the luck in the future. And I want to thank you for all the opportunities you provide for people in public to get engaged, to go to these committees, to get involved. And that's what our responsibility is to do. Get involved, not come here and complain after the fact. So thank you very much.
Thank you for your comments. Anyone else wishing to speak to the board? Seeing and hearing no one, we'll close this portion of public comment. Thank you all. This meeting is adjourned.